Welcome back to the Tailosive EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We have returned to an all Model 3 crew
Yes.
by request.
And we read the comments.
Yes.
It's always we read the comments, even though nobody. Hey, where's Randy? But I'm gonna say this. Not
you
because,
said it once. I don't remember what it was. I think Nick had a really controversial episode where he was saying all these hot takes that no one liked.
Yeah.
And then everyone was complaining about Nick in the comments, and then he was gone the following week. So we were like, we do read the comments, and I just died. It's like, they're like, Nick.
Yes, we read the comments.
Sit this one out. We're gonna pretend like we told him not to show.
Oh, I'm sweating. I have no memory of this, but that sounds like something. Yes, we read the comments. He's gone. Oh my god. Okay, unfortunately Mike is not here, so I can't see his reaction. But whatever. Well, on the offset, here we go. I have a change of heart. The Model 3 is my favorite car ever, not the Model Y.
Yes! Yes! This is the right audience for this news. I agree with you. I gotta say, after over a year now of ownership, I still love this freaking car, man.
Welcome, yeah!
I got my grandma, who you recorded, remember, in the car.
Yep.
I got to drive her in it again today, and just warms the heart so much seeing her reaction, because I was just inside looking at pictures of her first car, which was the first car. And she has this newspaper clipping that she saved all these years. It was like the first automobile in her hometown.
Wow.
They wrote a newspaper. They were like, the first vehicle to ever scare horses on the road has entered Corning, California, which is what it was. And I was like, there were other cars, they just didn't scare the horses. This is the real first car. But
you had to get out and crank it.
It's just cool to see her.
And then kick it, and it takes off.
Right. And then it breaks your arm. That literally happened to her brother, by the way.
Ooh.
Her brother was trying to start the car, and then if it kicks back, then it twists your arm in the wrong direction. Broke his actual arm. But
your grandma
she gets a
cool
kick out of it.
That
She's 97.
Doesn't look a day over 96. The fact that she's been
older
around
than the Queen.
Take that one, England.
She was born, I think, 2 days after the Queen, which is kind of a cool
American one
metric. Same year.
Europe 0. I know the rest of Europe doesn't care, but still, just there you go.
Suck it, EU.
Suck it with your
CCS2.
Yeah. Nax all the way, baby. I just have to tell you really quickly, the reason why the Model 3 is definitively my favorite car.
Oh, yeah.
Even objectively my favorite car. Unanimously the household's favorite car. Too many times have we, over the last month or so. Yeah. No, Brittany wasn't even, she's like, no, the Model 3 is a better car. I was like, whoa. So this is what it feels like to be right in an argument?
I would love to hear her argument for that.
The Model 3 is better.
What is her point?
Because we have a very tight turn radius to get to our house. And one day we took the 3 instead of the Y as the family car. And completely forgetting we have to make this U-turn with a tight turn radius. It's a one lane U-turn to another one lane. And I just it just whipped around. I was like, wow, and it just did it. I was like, oh, okay. And I still have better performance because it's a long range and it's not a performance. So I just the efficiency. We plugged it in. I think both cars got plugged in at 13%, and the Model 3 with all that long range capabilities still charged faster and was done before the Model Y. On a 110.
Nice.
So I was like, all right, there it is.
Cool.
If I could have the power lift thing, not $800 worth, but if I could have it.
Okay, that answered that question I was going to ask.
Yeah, not for $800. Nah. I'm not going to be a hypocrite about what
But you saw that, right? You saw that they offered that now, right?
I do.
Okay.
And I thought about it. But I'm not going to say on one show, I'm trying to be cost sensitive, and then on the other one, throw money at it.
Yeah, you're right. I thought the same thing. It's like, I would like it, but is that an $800 feature? Probably not.
No. I mean, the third party, if you buy it off of like, you know, a third party. Okay, so I had to hit the button, but like, I'm not spending $800 on a power.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no.
I use the frunk more anyway, to be honest.
I use the back seat more.
Yeah, you just throw it.
I just like climate control. The groceries I buy, like, climate control it in the car. I don't want my ice cream to melt, or maybe I do want my food to stay hot, or something. I just put it in the cabin.
So you put your son in the back seat, not the front.
Well, when he behaves. don't call CPS. It's a joke. I'm joking.
I just picture him crying and you like. You have to do the soft push. Yeah.
Why won't you close?
It's a joke, people.
We're joking. All right. That got dark.
So, I got. Does the Highland refresh play at all into your love of the Model 3, or are there some changes you don't like?
No,
this is completely unrelated.
Completely unrelated. Yeah, completely unrelated.
Wow.
To be honest with you, I've forgotten. After I watched yours and a few other recaps, I've just maybe because it's so fresh on the mind coming from tech, but I don't think about tomorrow's vehicle. I'm just like,
yeah.
2019 is a 2019, and that's okay with me. I don't got the little humming thing backing up. I don't have.
I wish I didn't have that.
Oh man,
I'd like to turn that off.
It's like silence to the ears. It's like, okay, ready? Let's go. It's pretty nice, right?
Yeah. Instead of.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh,
at the middle of the night.
Yeah.
When the neighbors are trying to sleep. What do I care? They're so loud. I still get self-conscious though. I'm like, I don't want to be loud, but it's like, they're so much louder than I am.
My dad.
Maybe I should use it more.
My dad would come home from working late hours when he used to do like pest control, and he'd come home in a Mercedes diesel, and we lived at this point we lived in an apartment complex, and he gets into the parking lot. And the complex is just one big C, 2 stories, but so it's a capital C.
Oh yeah.
And in the center is the parking lot, and he would come home, and you just hear this. Everybody's sleeping at 11 o'clock at night. No, wake up. He did not care.
Yeah.
But here you are, like,
what can you do back then?
Boom, boom. I don't want to be loud.
Right.
Just back up the car quiet. I don't want to disturb them. They're like going.
I'll pull in front ways at night, and then in the daytime I'll back up because of the sound.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to wake people up. I don't know why they wake me up all the time. I should really just. I don't know. I try to be like a good neighbor, but.
Like a good neighbor, nobody's there. What?
No. That's true. Well, I'm surprised you had no feelings, no impressions or thoughts on Highland then? Should we just skip over that?
It's been so long that I guess it doesn't really matter because how long we've gone since recording EV. I don't like, it's cool. Like I appreciate all the like. I like that there's a change for the sake of there being a change, but going on the back of, not to keep talking about tech, but this is something where it's like, buy used, man. Just buy used. In fact,
it's true. The used Model 3 market has gotten very good lately.
I don't want to speak out of turn, so I won't, but someone that we know is buying a Model 3.
I heard this as well.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Someone very close to us.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, okay. Wait, can we talk about it? I don't know if we can talk. Wait, I didn't know.
I don't know if we can. Let's not.
Let's not. Just I did not even know you knew. Okay,
Fred.
All right. Well, so someone we know.
Fred is buying a used Model 3.
Is buying and yeah. So that's a thing. And when I was looking at the prices that were sent to me, because like, hey, let's just say someone asked me, would you sell your 3 to me? How much? How about this much? I actually won't go any lower than this because of my FSD, and like, it gets you every time. Like, you know, that's my lowest. If I'm being honest, my lowest is at this amount because of FSD. And like, oh, that's just.
Can you say what it is, or is that too personal?
Not for me. I just don't want. I don't want to say it for. It might be too personal for the other person.
Gotcha.
So I don't care about me, but
Okay.
you know,
Fair enough.
let's just say I would have been taking an L on it all the same. But it's like, well, it is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
used vehicle, and it is what it is. Man, I was like, if I'm being objectively fair, if I was to keep this in the family, so to say, what would I sell this
Yeah.
for?
Sure.
And so I gave an honest price, and it was just a little bit too much. But I was like, I got to recoup my FSD loss on this.
And that's the one I thought the House and the Senate agreed was the one you wouldn't sell.
Oh no. So we were just entertaining pricing.
Yeah, yeah.
So then,
But if you had to sell a Tesla, it wouldn't be your 3, right?
no,
That was the last I heard.
no, that's
changed.
even more so. Just saying how much I love the Model 3. Like, no, we would sell the Y. That's definitely House and Senate's approved. That's already been passed. Went to the president's desk, got signed off. That's now
it's signed off.
yeah. Now we just wait. It's a pending
It's a
bomb.
law.
Yeah, it's a law now. So we that's where we're at with that. But then I got the link sent to me about other used 3s, and I was like, whoa, that's cheap. You should buy that one.
They're getting under like 25.
Yes.
Now, right?
Yeah.
And
like,
that qualifies for the used credit.
yeah.
How much is that credit again? Is it 4,000?
I thought it was 35. No, it might be 4. I'm trying to do this new thing where I don't pull up my web browser when I'm recording.
Oh, I'm not. I'll do it.
Oh yeah, you do it. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Hey, Jamie, can you pull that up for me?
Yeah, 25 or less. I remembered that. Yeah, it's 4,000.
My gosh.
Oh, 30% of the sale price up to a maximum of 4,000.
Okay.
So that's how they stop you from buying a, $4,000 Nissan Leaf for free.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, look, don't buy a Nissan Leaf, anybody. Just don't do that. Yeah, no, they're getting cheap. They're getting cheap, and I was like, wow,
That's amazing.
that's great. So, if anything, Highland just made everything else cheaper. So if anything,
Which I love.
Too. As
I think
products of the
I think it's good on-
non-Highland,
Right.
come on.
I think it's great for both parties. If you're in the market for a Model 3 and you want to buy new for some reason, and if you're buying a car from Tesla that's, $40,000-$50,000,
Yes.
you should get bells and whistles. You should
I
get
agree.
something over the people buying used. So there should be some advantage to buying new, because that supports Tesla's mission statement. They have to continue to make their products more desirable. They have to try to justify spending that amount of money rather than do what they did in years prior, where they were just taking things out and raising prices because they had infinite demand. See, this is what I like about when they catch up on demand. It's like, okay, we're going to make the products better. They have to be better because the used ones are getting so cheap.
You anticipated
beat
this.
that value.
You were like, once we caught up on this, we would see and that's where we're at. And okay, so does that mean I can't get that $80,000 peak asking price I got 2 years ago? No, but like, okay,
But you got a car.
and I love it. Oh, every day. My brother's with me right now. He's out visiting. And he hasn't been here for I think about a year. Anyway, we went somewhere yesterday, and I took the 3 because my wife took the Y to work. All right, let's go. We gotta go run the errands or whatever. And
Yeah.
everybody was, I like your wrap, man. Oh, I love that army green.
Yeah.
And he finally, like, by the 4th person, he's like this on his phone, and he's just like, don't you ever get tired of that? Like, he just asked me, like, does that get annoying? And I'm like, well, I swear to God, this was my response. This is about as close to celebrity that I'll ever get. And, it comes with the job. You get used to it. I was like, would I rather nobody say anything? Yes, of course. But, you got to show gratitude to the plebeians, the normies, and say, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you so, because that's what it feels like. Like, my car is like a celebrity that nobody.
Yeah.
Hey, I know that guy. I've seen him in the movie. I just can't pinpoint From where? That's me. That's my Model 3. That's Phoenix. Everyone's like, oh my God, can I get a photo with you
That's
for
me.
some reason? I don't know why, but I
Mm-hmm.
really like it. And he's like, doesn't that get old? You get used to it. Yeah, it's a little sorry.
Yeah.
It sucks being so popular. But yeah,
Right,
I
right.
I
I
immediately
don't get
go
that
ahead.
at all, honestly.
And I'm
Where I live,
jealous. I get
there
it.
are there are so many white Model 3s. It's like what is Rich Rebuild? Rich Rebuilds calls it the California Camry, which I love because I'm
I
not the
love
kind
it.
of guy trying to I don't some people are like you got to customize it so it stands out so you make it your I'm like no, 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 no. I'm going for I
Blending
want
in.
as little attention
Yeah.
brought to me as possible. I want I want to turn no heads. I want to just blend in, especially with how Elon's been tweeting lately. I've walked into too many situations where I'm at a family event or a friend meetup and someone says something like, "I can't believe did you see what he said?" And I'm like, "Hmm? The what? Who's that?
Mm,
Ellen?
that's good,
Who's
OJ.
Ellen?"
Mm, yeah.
I'm
No,
just like, I don't want to talk politics,
no
and I
habla
don't want to have a big
inglés.
I've run into people that EVs are actually much worse, and I'm always like, oh, really interesting.
I
I
do the
didn't know
same
that.
thing now.
And I don't I don't want to.
I used to be
I
so
don't care if they're wrong.
competitive, and I after you and I talked about it once on one of our episodes, I was like, I don't have that energy. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here. It's literally like talking politics. Like you've made up your mind
Yeah.
about Trump or Biden or whoever.
And the thing is, they don't want to be convinced, is
No,
what I've
they want
discovered.
to fight.
They're not saying those things to open up a reasonable
They
discussion.
want to
I've
validate
had
their
talks like that.
preconceived thoughts already. They're like,
Right. I
no,
mean, what they're frustrated by is, the government mandates saying everything's got to be electric
right.
by a certain time, and they see that and they want to complain about the policies, and then they want to be reinforced that their gas car is fine and they can keep driving their gas car. So they like that idea that, oh, well, it's not even better, well, it's not even
Yeah,
going to change anything, it's not better for the environment, and the batteries don't last. They're just it's confirmation bias is what it is. So when
yeah.
someone comes to you with that preconceived, they've come to that conclusion, EVs aren't any good, they're worse for the environment, you got to replace the battery every 2 years. I'm like, I'm not in work mode
Every
right now.
two
I don't
years.
want to
Yeah.
talk.
I came here for a family picnic. I don't want to work.
Right. To
Two
me that's not work.
years? Well, then I'm in big trouble. I'm
Yeah,
in.
I had to. Yeah, you're way late on your
Oh
battery
man,
service,
I'm late
buddy.
twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
So what's funny is I've been in that situation, and my wife will actually stand up more for the EV than I will because I'm just like,
Because
honey, I
she's
don't
not
want to
on
work right
Twitter
now.
fighting the daily grime of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, she's not used to having to fight like that online
She's
all the
fully
time.
rested
So
from her sleep from the night before. She's ready to go. Let's do
right.
this.
So when someone brings it up, I just go, yeah, that's
She
true,
doesn't
and I'm
have the
like, oh.
Oppenheimer stare yet.
I'm at the point now where I don't I don't even want the all EVs by 2030
Sure.
rules or
Yeah.
anything. I would rather the argument get worse and worse over time. I would rather the EVs just get so progressively affordable and reasonable and capable that the people who argue in favor of gas just look dumber and dumber each year. That's my strategy. I was like, there's not a
Make them
better
look how
slap in the
people
face.
defend Hummers now.
Yeah. Pretty much. I feel like every year they look more and more like that, right?
Do
It
you hear
starts
yourself?
it starts pretty reasonable, right?
Yeah.
It starts pretty like, well, I need the range when I'm towing and I gotta be able to fill up the tank. And for some people you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. Or
I
some people are
need to
like,
spend five
I need
dollars
to
a gallon at the pump.
right. Well, there are like some people I know in the family that are like, my budget, which was me for a time too. My budget for the next car is like $3,000. Is there an EV I can buy? And I'm like, no,
There's
don't
not
buy
even a
an
gas car you can buy for $3,000 without it
EV.
blowing up off the
You'd
lot.
be you'd be surprised. I mean, they're not buying it from a dealer. They're buying it off eBay marketplace or from family
No,
members and
no,
that kind of
no,
thing.
no.
And some people they've just accepted gasoline costs as a sunk cost fallacy. It's just like that's what life costs now. Like you have your electricity bill, you have your Wi-Fi bill, you have your phone bill, and you have your gasoline. That's just associated with it,
But
and
then
it
you have
doesn't matter what you
oil,
say. They're not going to
transmission, timing belt,
brake pads,
brake pads.
starters. That's what went out in our
My brake
Sonata.
pads are still over 4 years later. I got them checked. I keep needing new tires before I need new brake pads. I can't.
Oh yeah,
I can't
that's
remember
right.
the last time that has happened to me. It's weird.
Well, honestly, with the price of insurance being much higher on a new car,
Yeah.
and the registration of EVs being usually a bit higher because of the gas taxes the road taxes that they push into them,
Yeah,
like,
that's
and the
me.
more tire service. What's you?
I in Virginia we get the um I pay a premium because I have an EV. They're like, well, we can't tax you at the pump,
Oh yeah,
so I have to pay the
me
DMV
too.
directly. Oh, California rolled it out. No, man. Oh, this.
It's I kid you not. My California the registration on my Model 3, $666 exactly. Literally Satan.
Execute dollar six
Yeah.
66 six.
I saw whoops. I saw Texas do something similar too. They just rolled out the same structure.
It comes for all
But
of
with
us.
all of that, I I don't think I can honestly I don't think I can genuinely make the argument to that many people that it's going to be cheaper to own. I
Cheaper to
don't
own
think that argument
an EV or
an
a gas?
EV.
Okay. Yeah.
An EV. I mean, the money's going towards different things, but I mean, it's definitely cheaper than buying a new gas car. That's for sure.
Yes.
It's like new gas, new EV, because the new gas car is going to come with the high registration, and
Yeah.
it's more expensive to insure and everything. But if you're the kind of
And there's no
person like we
rebates.
were, which yeah, right, there's no incentives, of course, but um, if you're the kind of people like we were buying used cars for sub 10 grand,
Yeah.
the added expense of going electric, I struggle to see. Even with my free charging miles, it's going to take decades to like break even, and there's fairly likely to be something else that a headlight goes
Yeah,
out or
but you're
something
buying
breaks out of
private
warranty.
used as opposed to retail new EV. Those are two different
Yeah,
universes, you know?
they are. But I totally agree they are, but I just see a narrative pushed on Twitter and in YouTube a lot that EVs are just objectively cheaper than any gas car. And I'm like, well, there's a fine print on that statement, in my opinion. I'm like, if you're comparing $30,000 gas car to $40,000 EV, sure, the EV will have a break even point, and the fuel savings will match up. But if you're the kind of person buying, like you said, privately used, that's still at this point, in my opinion, the cheapest form of car ownership is to buy super old, super used, hopefully something with good fuel economy,
Mm,
and hope that the transmission doesn't have massive issues. And that's why it's just less certain. I will say, like, it
mm.
can be cheaper, but if the car goes bad or something goes wrong with it, there's more things that need to be serviced and fixed. And with EVs, you just skip a lot of that. But EVs are just relatively newer, so I think the Goldilocks zone, which our friend might be approaching now, is buying a used EV, and the lower we get that entry price, followed by the lower cost of operating expenses, because obviously EVs charging is cheaper than gas, but other things go up: tire maintenance, insurance, registration. But if you get the used prices of EVs down a lot, I think that's where you're going to start seeing that cheaper to own an EV than to own anything else.
Yeah, I think my only hesitation with everything you said was that I just maybe I wouldn't agree with a side by side of used EV versus or used gas versus new EV. That EV doesn't stand a chance because of it being
Mm-hmm.
nothing new stands a chance against something secondhand,
Correct.
which is I
Yes.
mean, and we I definitely in my personal life promote people go buy used, don't buy new. If
Mm-hmm.
I don't plan on buying a new Tesla ever again. I wasn't even the Y wasn't even on the table necessarily, which is why it's not in my name. because that was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was more of like the quick compromise of it all. Um, but we are at the point. I would. Here's what I give non EVs right now. There's more. You have more of a variety. You're at Baskin Robbins. You got all 31
Oh yeah.
flavors, right? You need a truck, we
So
got a
much
truck.
variety.
You need a van, we got a van. You need an SUV, we got an SUV. You need you need a two-door two-seater, we got you need a motorcycle, we got a motorcycle. You need like they got something for everything. Whereas like we're still getting there, but sedans have been on the market now for a long time, long enough to actually make it worthwhile to buy used. And you know what? I see you make this joke on Twitter that, oh great, just what we needed was another SUV, another crossover. I was looking forward to that so much. Outstanding. Oh boy, way to really saturate the market
That's
here.
my that's my cynical Aptera promotion. That's my like anytime a new EV comes out now that is just another 5-seat crossover, I want to shoot myself.
um
Wow, great,
wee!
finally
Let's talk real
we
quick
did it.
about non-Teslas for a second. Because you brought up Aptera and I want to pick your brain about it. But before we do, there's two others
They're
I want to
about
talk
to
about.
get well. Before you transition, the other thing I was going to say that used gas still has over electric by far is the incredibly low barrier to entry.
True.
For a lot of people who just need to buy a car and they don't have the money to buy some, even with a tax credit and all that, they don't even have 15 grand to drop.
Drew, you're looking a little tired. Did you lose this fight? Drew from 6 months ago wouldn't be talking to me like this. You look like you're
well, I just
shilling.
think we should.
You sell out.
I still prefer electric. Don't get me wrong. And if I was
you were yelling at me for even entertaining a hybrid at the beginning of the year.
Oh well, hybrid's the worst of both. Hybrids.
You threaten. You're like, if you don't get another EV, you're not welcome back on this show. I was like, whoa, okay.
No. I mean, that's still true. You're still not welcome. But if you buy a gas car on the show, but I hope people are understanding that when it comes to like cost of ownership,
yeah,
it's kind of a wash dependent on used private gas, which you and I understand there was no competition. New versus used is never gonna compete.
Right.
But I just want to preface that because I see a lot of people that don't take that into consideration and just say all EVs are cheaper to own than all gas. And I'm like, not quite, but yeah, there's long term EVs are just so new. And I think what matters, this will transition into the non-Tesla topic here, but what matters the most I'm discovering after watching so many reviews and owning an EV now and I'm over 23,000 miles on it now, is the charging network.
Yes.
And the charging speed.
Agreed.
You get those two things, in my opinion, everything else becomes secondary. It's like, as long as it's reliable and it can charge fast, which is why I think the used Model 3s are so great.
Yeah.
It's because, okay, they don't got the power trunk, they don't got ventilated seats, they don't got the ambient light. I'm in the future. You know, they're not fancy schmancy, but what I love about used Model 3s is this concept of they just keep running, you know, like, and
it's the Honda Civic of cars. It just keeps going.
Yeah, it's becoming the Civic of EVs. Yeah. And just like, oh, you have an EV, it's probably a Model 3, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay. It's like, it's the only.
Oh, you're taking out to the drag racing show today and you're going to
take. Yeah, it's like the most boring one because it's been out for a long time.
Yeah.
It feels like everybody and their grandma has a Model 3, but that's what I love about it, is it's just so, it just works. You just can't, like, it's even the older ones support 250 kilowatts. They already have NACs. So you can find now, you know, low, mid to high $20,000 range Model 3s. Sure, they're probably out of warranty, but the door handle,
but it's under $30,000 still. And
but if the barrier to entry is that low and then the cost of ownership is super low, like, you just, okay, I gotta lift my own trunk.
What's the bottom? Where's the
Dang.
bottom of this? Where how low does it go before it plateaus? And like, okay, this is floor price. What's the bottom?
Ooh. I think we're kind of nearing it, honestly, because I do think the more we talk about this, the more the market is going to kind of wake up to this concept. I see education being done, you know. I see in the
Yeah.
videos and the streams as more people are researching EVs, there's more of an understanding that this range thing is not the end all be all, you know. It's not about your 100% range figure. And more people are starting to realize, okay, it's not about you can't trust Electrify America, and okay, as long as you got the high charging speed, that's what matters.
Yeah.
And you know, like efficiency, prioritization, and I think more and more people are going to start catching it, because I know so many people that want Teslas that just can't afford them yet. It has nothing to do with features, it has nothing to do with, oh, advertising, Tesla needs to spend more money on. No, it's all just, that's great, can't afford it, don't
Right.
have the money for it. So the more and more people are catching on to that and considering buying the used Model 3s, I feel like that might prevent them from dipping much low. Because anytime one dips below 25K, that instantly unlocks that credit and it becomes way more affordable. So I think that's kind of, if you can find one, it's not going to last long. And I guess that puts the floor a little bit above 25. I was
Mm.
just looking on Tesla's inventory page while we were talking, and the lowest I see in my area is 27,800.
Oh wow.
But there's
Okay.
one for, I just saw one that I was like, I would totally buy that if I was in the market today.
I'm going against my
Uh,
rule. I'm going to Tesla. I will research because I'm curious what my area will say.
okay. In my area, it's a little bit more. It's 28,400, but it comes with enhanced autopilot, which is like, okay, cool. Just the stuff I care about, not the FSD beta stuff. It's red exterior, white interior, with 18-inch wheels, which are my favorite. It's a 2020 Model 3. So it gets 250 miles of range. Not LFP, but I've actually decided I don't care much about LFP as much as I used
Ooh.
to.
What? Why? That's new. Why
Well, you
don't you
don't have
care?
LFP, and you're getting by okay, aren't you?
Oh, I'm thriving, baby. What do you mean?
Well,
Life
I
is
just
great.
after after going on so many road trips, I've realized like if your health is lower, you just charge it a little bit to a higher percentage, and then you
Yeah.
just keep going. Like I don't. I'm not the kind of guy that needs to be in the car for 4 hours between stops. Like that's just not my. I have no problem stopping, and if because I get the question a lot, like what would you have done differently? Like would you have waited for Highland, or would you have waited for this
Mm.
new rear-wheel drive Model Y that just got announced? I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
saw that, but
I did, yeah.
I think on the site,
We're
as far
recording
as new
on
Teslas go,
Wednesday, October 4th, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why.
thank you. Yeah, as far as the new inventory goes, in my opinion, that's the best deal on the site. The rear-wheel drive Y is just so affordable,
We're back to when we
and
said the
it doesn't.
best. That was the one that I was like, oh, this is the best one. Rear wheel. Why? Because it's standard, right? It's not long range.
Finally, no,
Right.
it's not long range. That would
Yeah.
be cool if they
Th-
made a long range
I
rear wheel
know. No,
drive, but
that's asking for too much. Just the fact that
still,
you get the standard rear wheel drive again. Like finally, like that.
yes.
That's when we realized that was the
It's
best.
been it's been 84 years. It's been so long. It's finally back, and I love it. But if I was
That's
in
the
the
best
market
bang for your
today,
buck.
I would buy that.
Yeah.
I would buy not the new the not the new Y though. Like as cool as that car is, if you were buying new, if I was in the market today, I would totally buy that $28,000 used Model 3 from 2020. I'm like, that is
Is this one 2020?
such a great deal.
I got a
Hmm?
2018 Model 3 for 27.3. Yeah,
Nice.
New
Oh,
Jersey.
that's great. That's awesome.
So I think what I would do differently now. Well, no, I wouldn't do anything different because I had to. As tangible as it is, I had to meet that milestone for me just to say that you did it, Randy. Good job. I
Oh
had
yeah, I'm the same way.
had to buy
We
that one.
made the best decision we did
Yeah.
with the information we had at the time.
Especially in 2019. I mean, best thing I would, you know what I'd do differently? I would have bought more Tesla stock. That's what I would have done differently. That's what I would have did different.
Okay, Ron Barron.
Right. So, going forward, I think unequivocally, I will every Tesla I would ever buy again, if I do stay with Tesla, will be used. It's too. It's. It's just
Yeah, I'm
it
with you.
feels right. It feels right.
I guess the better way to phrase the question would be, if heaven forbid I was in an accident, not
Oof.
my fault, but
Yeah.
the car was totaled,
Yeah.
um, how would I replace it?
Ooh. Yeah.
In my
Yeah. Yeah.
opinion, the used Model 3 for 28 grand with enhanced autopilot, I'd be like, I'll take it.
Dude.
Whatever
Yeah.
excess payout I get from insurance, I'll just pocket that. And
Yeah.
it might not be in perfect condition. I don't care. I'll live with it.
Yeah.
I can take that.
I would replace it, assuming I would replace. Oh no! Well, I'm in a different situation. Something, God forbid, something happens to either one of the Teslas. I would probably go non-Tesla. Probably.
Really? What would be
I'm catching
so
my
you wanted
wait.
to transition to a
Yeah, but I'm
non-Tesla
catching
topic,
myself.
right?
If it happened today in 2023, I would just pick up another Tesla. I'm not stupid. Not right now. But anything post, because like realistically, like okay, yes, anything can happen to our car, but realistically, like if I was ever like maybe it's time to, shop around for a new car. 2025, I would have had my car for 6 years, and I'm like, and it's still just thinking. I was like, dang, it feels like I've only had my car for maybe a little over a year. Like I still love my car that much. It's not an iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
man. Nothing feels dated about it. The future is now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been living in the future since 2019, and I'm still just in awe. But if I was to replace the car past 2024, 2025, when everybody like stipulations, we have to have NACS. That has to be it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Of course.
and I have to wait to actually see what the real cost of using the network outside of not having a Tesla. Like I see it on the app, like okay, how to register to use the supercharging outside, but
Mm-hmm.
outside of superchargers, like now that that's the port, like I think I would still install like a wall charger or something in my next house.
Sure.
I feel like that's something I would be doing if
Mm-hmm.
I like I like the convenience of superchargers when I can. I mean, especially if I have like referrals for it, absolutely. But
Oh, yeah.
If and when referrals go away, like there's nothing wrong with charging at home, and I would always charge at super off peak hours like I did back in San Diego, and
Mm-hmm.
with my 220 or 240 that I had more than enough to get me to and from work at the time, and I was commuting pretty far. And I was like, okay, this is good. This is good. I would want
Mm-hmm.
something that's higher than a 110 that would go super off peak hours at midnight
Yeah.
and give me just enough oomph to get me to and from a location in my city. Like that's the normal route of my routine.
Right.
Traveling is traveling, right? Like that's when you're like, oh, plan for stops and stuff like that. That's the exception. That's not the routine of it. I'm not a truck driver, so um
You're not Jay Leno.
I mean, we look at it today. You see those indictments. Yeah, I'd say he's doing a pretty good job. I don't know why he talks like this. Dang, guys, it's Jay Leno. I got this little voice. Okay, all right.
To look down at everything.
Oh yeah, I called Elon. I said, hey, and I didn't realize it was the 6-hour time difference. And he was like, oh, you're bothering me. And I said, oh, I just wanted you. I was gonna buy one of your cars, and that's why I bought the Model S. True story. That's a story he told once.
Yes, it is. I remember.
So I have to have fast charging with NACS, and ideally it would be at home base, right? So that's the ideal scenario I painted in my head. So it has to be NACS, and we have to have efficient charging.
That's fair.
And so the reason why I entertain outside of Tesla is because what if by 2025 all these 2024 cars that promised that would have transitioned are now selling because nobody wants them now, and I could buy a used 2024 in 2025.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
like there's nothing innately wrong with them, but people sell cars for no reason, the same way they upgrade their iPhones for no reason. There's nothing wrong with your iPhone, you just want the
That's
newer
true.
one. So
Yep.
I would wait for the right deal. I'd camp. I would just sit and wait and be like, okay, now I'm getting the Rivian, or now I'm getting the Volvo, or now I'm getting the Cybertruck. Maybe I am wooed by the Cybertruck. I don't know, but there's many reasons why I would sit and camp, buy used, but the stipulation is it has to have NACS, and we have to have that efficient charging. Because you're absolutely right. I don't care about the range anymore. I care about efficiency with it. I don't plan on a.
It's fascinating how much that changes. Like before you buy an EV, range is this big topic. It's this big conversation.
Yeah.
What is the range going to be? How far can it go? And then after you own one for a few years, you're like, who cares? Like it doesn't matter. It's just the charging speed.
I've dropped my rate
charging curve.
to charge at 60 or 50%, and I'm fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm fine.
That's cool.
That's why it's like you're right about
I guess I could do that too.
Yeah, I mean that's why when you're like you don't care about LFP, I was like, yo, yeah, I thought you cared about, which is why I was shocked. I don't care about LFP because 50% of battery is more than enough to get me literally anywhere. I just care about.
Well, it's a nice to have.
Yeah,
I'll acknowledge that it's cool. There's some advantages to getting the cheaper model, like it unlocks a couple things with that iron-based chemistry, but having road tripped with it now quite a bit, I'm like, okay, if the range was 20, 30 miles lower because it was a used standard range 2170 cell, big whoop. It wouldn't make a big difference. It would probably add a little bit of trip time, but ultimately the efficiency would actually be better because it would be lighter. The standard range Model 3 that they made with the 2170 pack was the lightest Model 3 ever made. Still, LFP is heavier, so it is almost on par with the weight of the long range. And because I'm such an efficiency nut now, I'm actually more curious. I'm like, what would it be like to road trip with one of those? Remember the non-plus, just the off-menu standard range Model 3?
That you had to call in? Yeah.
I would love to road trip with that, just to do a video on like how bad could it be with like the cheapest of the cheapest.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Model 3.
There's no way. It's
probably so similar. Yeah.
We're spoiled by knowledge. And, like we know what we know. So what I wanted to talk that was non-Tesla related, and so again I had to go against my rule and just get on the internet here. But two updates that caught my eye, and I wanted to pick your brain about Aptera. Not to bury the lead here, but yesterday
I love Aptera talk.
We'll talk about it. That's why I want to knock out the other ones quicker. Pick your brain about it.
Yeah.
Now that Mike finally got his story out. Poor Mike. Volvo finally announced prices for the car that I like, the SUV that caught my eye, and I'm just whelmed, I guess. I'm not underwhelmed. I'm not overwhelmed by it. I'm just like, oh, let me talk specifics with the Volvo. Their cheapest model I'm looking at here, $36,000 for their what they call for the rear wheel drive core. It's the core model. If you got an all wheel drive, they don't have the cheapest model. You get the middle tier, which is called Plus, and instead of 40, it'd be 40,000 if you got it rear wheel, but if you got all wheel drive, it'd be $46,000. And then just they look like they're trying to upsell you to the Ultra at that point, because for $1,000 more, you would get it for either $47,800 or you would get it for $41,800, depending on rear wheel or all wheel drive. I don't know if I like those prices for it being a small SUV. It's a tiny car.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I'm not a fan of that.
Not as low as I was hoping.
Yeah. I was expecting, to be honest. I see where they're meeting their mark with like, oh, it's something that's about a $35,000 car after incentives, sure, and all that. Like, I see what they're doing with the core being the cheap model.
Yeah.
But I only bring this up because Mike and I had raved so much about the idea of it that, not that it's changed my mind, but I definitely would not pay this price new for a Volvo of any capacity. And the
Sure.
thing is, like, Volvo is known to be a luxury brand. Like, they're like, we're a luxury sedan, we're a luxury station wagon.
Mm-hmm.
They like their thing is luxury, no different than, I don't know, Lincoln or a Lexus or
Yeah.
something, right? So you have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get, there's some name brand recognition attached to that, but I suspect that this core tier for 36K won't have many of the features that was showcased when they announced it earlier this year. So I think that you'd be spending more to 40 to 40 45K to get everything that you'd want. And for me personally,
Right.
you know what I would do not different, because every car I own so far has this. I will never buy a rear wheel, or like, I will always have an all-wheel drive vehicle. There is,
Really? That's
yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Given where I know my life will be at in the next 5 years, I will benefit from
Oh yeah.
having an all-wheel drive vehicle. I just know
Mm-hmm.
that. So for me, if I wanted this car, just finishing the thought through, I would buy an all-wheel drive Volvo for $36,000. Sorry, $46,000. Um,
Ooh.
and the range does take a hit for it's at 265, which I know it doesn't matter, but we don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
how efficient this charging is going to be. So if I
Mm-hmm.
have to rely on like longer gap, there's still there's many more questions that I have, but just looking at the price alone, I'm like, you know what? I think I'll sit this one out. I'll wait until it becomes a used vehicle, and
Yeah.
then I'll reassess. So I wanted to bring this up now.
I got to admit, I mean, I know you and Mike are big Volvo guys. I hate to
Yeah.
be that guy,
Okay.
but uh,
You
the
watch what
fact
you
that the
say.
Volvos, the, I think that one I read is made in China and then imported.
Oh, so you don't even get
So
the tax.
I don't think you get the tax credit, which means the Model Y, which does get the credit, is probably cheaper. The all-wheel drive variant, even.
Yeah.
And I get it. The Volvo is probably going to have a more premium build than the Model Y does, but I'm like, I think your performance Model Y smokes that thing. Like,
I was looking for
I would say it's
I'm a compact kind of guy,
something
and
smaller. Yeah,
tighter turn radiuses, like we were talking about at the start of the show, things like that. But
that's true.
I'm not being a hypocrite here. I wouldn't buy this car new, and especially if I don't get the tax credit, then I'm like, no, I can wait. With that being said, moving on, we also have recent news about the Rivians, and um,
Oh yeah.
I'm excited that even that uh, the Max Pack, excuse me, and all that
Mm-hmm.
zhuzh. I'm excited that they're thriving in their own little world. That I would like to think that they're going to be one of the ones that make it. Statistically, they can't
I
all
think
make
they
it.
will.
I think they will make
If
it
any
too.
of them make it, it's got to be Rivian,
I hope it's Rivian.
considering the cash they got, the way they're ramping, the revenue coming in. I'm like, if you're looking at all EV start, if you don't think Rivian's going to make it, then you don't think any of them are going to make it.
Yeah,
Which there are some people like that, but no one is in a better position than Rivian of the startups. Tesla's not a startup, just so we're clear.
Tesla's a Fortune
If
500
you're
company, guys. Come on,
Yeah,
they
if
are
you're
not a
in the
startup.
Fortune 500, you're not a
You're
startup.
not a startup. No,
that's that's
you
not that's
winter
my
already
definition, I
winter
guess.
already came for you. You've endured. So
Yeah, they're past the startup phase, but
yeah,
Rivian is not because they are not yet profitable and they just started delivering a product a couple of years ago. But
yeah.
of the startups, they are definitely in the best position for success. I'm a little confused by the Max Pack personally, but
Okay.
I know a lot of people are going to like it and they'll probably secure very thick margins on those vehicles. So it doesn't hurt anything,
What
but
confused you about the
I
Max
just
Pack?
well, they just didn't change anything about the charging characteristics. So the Rivian was already not a very fast charging relative to the battery pack size. It peaks at like 220 kilowatts, so it doesn't even have the same peak speed as your Model 3. And your Model 3 has like an 80 kilowatt hour pack, and the Rivian, the launch edition, has like 130 kilowatt hours. The max pack is going to be 160 or something. I don't know, but it's got to be bigger than that. and they've been prone to having their charging curve is known to not be very good due to like thermal limitations. Like they don't maintain that peak speed for very long. So I think it's kind of tackling the wrong problem. So like if people want
Mm.
to make better trip time with the Rivian,
Mm-hmm.
I think paying more attention to the charging curve and the charger speed, maybe a higher voltage architecture. Maybe they're waiting until Tesla does something with their higher voltage architecture. But as long as your
But what
charging
would that have to
speeds
do
are
with
kind
their
of
invention
limited,
network, though? I mean, they're not abandoning
yeah,
it.
no, they didn't say they would. Maybe they should. But I feel like as long as their charging speeds are kind of low, then having a bigger battery pack doesn't really save that much time on a road trip. I mean, it slightly increases the edge cases of okay, you can drive all the way to here and back home without stopping,
Mm.
but the truth is the large pack is just so good because you get a dual motor large battery that's 350 something miles. So 350 versus 400 is not,
Right.
and if you're towing, cut that difference in half. We're talking a difference of 25 miles, and yet the max pack is like $10,000 more or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm it's impressive, I should say, that they've actually been able to do that because I do. It's surreal to hear those numbers actually come out on paper and everything because I remember a few years ago where everyone said that was impossible. I was still engaged in the EV community where they were like they need a truck that can go 400 miles and it was like, oh, that's impossible. They could never get a truck to do that. So it's cool the fact that that's actually like gonna be
Check
available and in
and
production.
mate.
Right. It's a great like conversation counterpoint, but I wouldn't recommend anybody actually buy it because I feel like if you know anything about EVs and charging, it's
but
not actually going to make that
but
big
you
a
know, people
difference.
who do have EVs are even going to still make the case that there should be a bigger battery, always bigger battery, whether you use it or not.
Yeah.
And I understand the sentiment because that was my sentiment too about having that headspace for battery degradation and just
Mm-hmm.
for use it when you need it type of a thing if you have all that extra
Mm-hmm.
headspace. But um, not for $10,000. Like when we talk, like there's a point of diminishing returns, right, with your costs, and I
Right.
think I think for this being it's not a Gen 1. Like I don't know how I would but it's still early adoption. So for something that at this time in its life cycle, the timeline, even the company's trajectory where it's at, not for that price. I don't think that's okay. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but then it goes back to what I'm saying. Like maybe when it's used, what do those cost margins look like
True.
when it's used then? Because
Yeah,
Rivian is
that would
still
be
my on my
interesting.
radar. It's like I want one more
Mm-hmm.
more than the Volvo, more than a new Tesla. As of right now, until we see something with the Cybertruck, like I really want a Rivian, but not that one, and definitely not new. No, 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 no.
I
I just
love
go ahead.
I love the culture surrounding Rivian too. Like I
Mm.
just love their ethos and what they stand for, and I love that I could drive that to a family event and not be bombarded with political questions, or
I
less, I
love
should
how
say. It's
cool
still
RJ
electric.
is. He's just yeah. Sometimes I just need a CEO
Yeah,
to be a CEO. Be a visionary when
yeah.
appropriate, but just be a CEO.
I think I
Yeah.
said this on a previous podcast, but RJ's the kind of guy you could take home.
You did say
Like,
that. Mom,
like
Dad,
you could.
this is what I'm into now.
He's just so friendly. Like he's always just so polite and like just he's Clark Kent. He looks like him.
If RJ
Um,
was a truck.
I just think, yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I think I described it to you before is because there was this chart I saw once that someone had researched, like where the most amount of Tesla employees go after Tesla,
Mm-hmm.
and Rivian was at the top of the list. So I was like, Rivian is basically just a bunch of Tesla employees that didn't want to work for Elon. That's what, that's
Who
what it
didn't want
felt
to do
like.
robo taxi?
Yeah, it's Tesla without the BS. That's
Yeah.
what Rivian is.
And you know what?
It's Tesla if they were just focused on vehicles. That's what Rivian is. Which is I love Tesla. I love Rivian. So I can't
There is a
justify the
place.
vehicles they're making for
I'm
my
glad
lifestyle,
Tesla
but
focuses
I
on the
respect it.
energy. You know, like that.
Yeah.
There is a place for that Tesla. I'm glad it's not just cars, but as a consumer, all I really need is a car. You know, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so grateful that like without Tesla. Ooh, hello. I got okay. That was weird. My armpits went like this, and
I
it thinks
love
I'm
how
doing
random
thumbs
that is.
up. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys can see I'm running the
Your
new
Dave Ramsey
software.
position.
Yeah, yeah. It's just stupid. You bought a what? New? That's just stupid. I don't trust these
Beans and rice.
Baines and Right. You know, you just find yourself an old brick and mortar mortgage company where they have to go through your credit. You don't need a credit score. That's just stupid. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, look.
That's
Uh,
beautiful.
I could talk about
I wish
Rivian.
all the best for Rivian.
Yeah, that's
But the Max Pack is the first thing they've done in a while that I'm like, well,
that
I'll also mention I didn't quite understand the need for quad motor. Like it's cool, but
each tire
it
has
makes
its
your
own.
efficiency worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like very specific off-roading situations. I know
Yeah.
anytime I critique the quad motor, everybody goes in my comments and stuff, everyone's like, you can understand that individual torque vectoring is helpful when off-roading. But then I look at the videos of Rivian posting testing our dual motor powertrain, and they're going off-road all the time. They're going
Right.
up hills, they're
Yeah.
going through the sand dunes. They're like, we're testing our dual motor. And I'm like, so you're saying it can do all that. So
Because we need to go
what's
over those
quad for?
that body of boulders over there. We just need to climb it. Okay. I can't find a
Someone
road, so the only
probably
way
does. I
up
just
is up.
yeah. We have to drive over like this super intricate thing. Someone does that. I get it. But I would not be shocked to learn that like 80% of Rivian owners, at least the ones I've seen, the car is like pristine. It's all clean. They drive it to work and back. They drive it to their local
Yeah, I'm a truck
brewery
guy.
and exactly. It's like kind of what Chris from Dirty Tesla said. He was like, if I'm taking a truck off road all the time or getting it dirty, I don't want to spend top dollar for it. I don't want to
Yeah.
drop 80, $90,000
Yeah.
on the dirty off-roading truck.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you want a dirty off-roading truck, you get a cheaper. I mean, 50 grand is still a lot, but you'd want a cheaper, lower end thing that you're okay to get banged up. And the Rivian is just so pretty and so easy to scratch
I'm gonna
and
be
like
glamping with
dent
my
and
Rivian. I'm not that guy. I'm not gonna go off roading into
yeah,
the
it's a
dunes.
glamper machine
You're
for
gonna
sure.
see me out there. Hey, what's up? Daniel, just getting ready to take this old bad boy out to we're gonna go camping where there's pavement, obviously. Yes, pavement, but
With
and I still have signal.
you
Yes.
camp in the REI parking lot with your flannels and
Whew.
everybody's eating
Winter's harsh
s'mores
today,
and
isn't it? Oh.
driving to Cabela's. You go camping with it for about 30 hours and then you drive home.
I call it camping when In
That's
and
what
Out
it's
is
for.
closed and I can't go. Then now we're roughing it. That's when we're camping.
Yeah, I see them all the time though. They're very common around here, which I'm loving. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just think all their focus and attention, I guess I'm biased. I want all of their focus and attention to go towards cheaper tiers because they've got a great product and I'm just like, okay, how do you make this more affordable? How do we take out things? How do we simplify it, make it
How
more
do we make the
accessible to the
Model S a
masses?
Model 3?
Right, right. That's what Rivian needs is their Model 3. The R1T is like their Model S
Yes.
and the R1S is like their Model X and the delivery van is uh
There's semi?
the their semi truck. Yeah, okay,
Maybe?
that's good. That works.
Semi?
So we're all waiting for, I guess, the R2 platform slash how do you lower the R1T pricing? That's what I'm interested in. So
Yeah. All right.
anything that's not that, I'm like,
I don't want to leave this episode without just circling back with you on where are we at with Aptera.
thank you.
How is my thank you. How is my Aptera sheep feeling today on this fine Wednesday?
I feel mostly hopeful and excited because they're prepping for their first production parts to come in. So the parts that they've stamped out from the CPC group in Italy are not calibration parts. They are actual components that would go into vehicles, assuming they start production. They still don't have all the production tooling paid for yet. This is why we hate waiting around for government loans. That's why Aptera is still trying to secure independent funding. But they have submitted their ATVM loan application. There's reason to believe that they. I see no reason why they wouldn't be granted it. But of course, if you're waiting on a government loan, you're probably going to have to wait longer than you'd expect. So
Right.
it's sad that we don't have a very strict timeline. There was, I don't know if I talked about this publicly, but we scheduled a meetup where I was going to get to test drive the Gamma prototype. And I was really excited, really happy. And then some freaking BMW backed into the prototype and had a rapid unintended crash test. And um, I saw the pictures online of the wheel pant had been ripped off, and I reached out to my contact at Aptera, and I was just like, hey, are we still on for next week? And he was like, probably not. He's like, let's hold off until we fix this. We don't want you to drive a broken prototype for your video. That would kind of suck. So he said he'd reach back out once they had it all fixed up. I haven't heard back yet. So I was
Is this a
so
trip
close.
Is this a trip to San Diego?
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been a couple days ago.
Man.
But some BMW backed into it and canceled the whole trip. So I was pretty bummed by that, but I'm still hopeful. I don't, the prototype isn't that important in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I like the updates they've been posting. They came out with these wicked solar looking shoes that had a dope design. But sorry, I wish I had more status updates for you. But overall, I still run into situations all the time where I'm like, I don't need the second row. This is just me driving right now, or this is just me and my wife, or just me and grandma. And this could have been an Aptera drive. This could have been a much more efficient trip. But yeah, it's good things come to those who wait. After seeing Fisker Ocean get to production and even Faraday Future get to production, I'm kind of like, it's kind of hard to kill some of these startups, if I'm honest. Like, some of these guys have been floating around for years, and we were like, oh, they're dead. They're done. Nikola, we thought those guys were for sure dead. And yet they're still delivering trucks. They're still making semi-trucks, and they're still delivering it. I'm like, where are they getting? Who decided to keep investing in these people after all the Trevor Milton stuff? They're still around. So I'm like, I think Aptera, spending-wise, is in kind of hibernation mode. They're just on a bare-bones staff. They're not spending any more than they have to so that they can buy as much time as possible to secure more funding, wait for that government ATVM loan, and whatever comes first, they're going to use that to start production. But as far as I can tell, they're doing everything right that I would do. The only downside is they don't have infinite funding, so they don't have the money they need to start production, which sucks. But they're getting closer every day.
Yeah.
And that's still the only other EV right now I'd be interested in buying.
That was going to be my last question. If your thoughts had changed on that. Yeah. I can, for your lifestyle today, I can see it fitting your little pocket of out and abouts and occasional, out of state trips to family and in-state trips to San Diego. I can just see it, being a whole thing, right? So,
oh yeah, totally.
Man, somebody had to mess it up and add a third member to my family, so that won't work.
I know. He ruined all your plans. It's a bummer.
I have to blame Brittany because I can't blame him. It's her
That's
fault.
Okay. When you're mad, he just goes in the frunk.
That's why won't this close?
Oh, just jokes, folks. Oh man, I'm just happy your son is gonna grow up with only EVs around. That's
Me
what I'm
too.
happy for.
I wonder
He's
if he's
gonna
even gonna care. It's like, yes, Dad, yes, the Tesla,
no,
whatever, yes, whatever.
no, he doesn't know what that is. That's just a car to him. He'll go in a friend's car at some point that's gas and be like,
What's that
"Oh,
smell?
what is that? Is the car okay? It's making
Ew.
so much noise and it's vibrating." I'm just excited to
Wait,
see
where do you
your
charge it
son.
at?
Yeah, his perception.
Yeah.
Wow, that charging station's really fast.
Dad, guess what I just experienced? You can go to a charging station and be in and out in 3 minutes.
That would be funny. He's all interested in gas cars. It's like the inverse.
It's like yeah, you'll be like a novelty collector. It's like iPad or iPhones, and then all of a sudden you get like a Game Boy Color, and you touch the screen and nothing happens, and you're like, "This, what's happening? Why is it not responding? Why is the screen so small?" The music is
Right,
just little.
right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, as we're wrapping up, there's been Cybertruck sightings everywhere. I don't know if you've caught them, but there's actually most
Yeah.
recently there were two spotted in Mexico,
Oh.
of all places, which I did not expect. It was like, what are you?
Viva la
doing?
Cybertruck.
Viva Cybertruck, and they closed off the option for you to buy a ticket to the event. So
Before they even announced the date, I did not want. I wasn't going to be baited into that.
yeah, we had a big long debate in the lost episode that none of you got to see, but I was really pressuring Randy to invite me to the show. But in the back of my head, I realized I probably don't want to go anyway. I just wanted to see you again, and I
You know, we could do things that don't have
but-
anything to do with this.
No, we can't. It has to be it has to be some kind of event, right?
Right.
Someone has to be buying a car or
Tell you
crashing
what,
a car.
Send your iPhone SE4 to my house so you can come pick it up, and
There you go. Now we have an excuse.
now we have
But
a reason.
there's been crash tests. We saw a little close up on the inside fine print saying dual motor. So maybe because there's only going to be one Cybertruck launch, right? And we're getting closer and closer. I feel like maybe every episode we can do another updated projection, launch model, specs, pricing. I know we've predicted them before, but we're just going to keep going on the record until they actually give us some.
All right. Launch 2024. Price. Starting.
You're saying there's still no delivery event until next year. You're sticking to that?
No. People actually getting their orders next year.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
So
the
that's
event.
a separate event.
The event is the event. The event will be the event.
Yeah.
I mean, we technically got a Cybertruck event in 2019.
yeah. But I mean, like, the Tesla will brand it a delivery event and just drive,
Okay, yeah, the way they delivered the Model Y. Where's Owen when I need it? The way he delivered
Yeah.
the Model Ys at Austin.
Like how Tesla semi-delivery. Can you believe Tesla semi-delivery event was almost a year ago? And there's like 70.
Nice Pepsi truck. Oh man,
Nothing more American than using a state-of-the-art electric truck to deliver corn syrup to Americans.
Buying corn syrup, sugary water.
You want to ship sugar water for the rest of your life?
Or do you want to come with me and deliver these trucks?
Deliver these polygons.
It still irks me. I've been up to DC quite frequently in the last 2 months or 3 months. I've gone very regularly now, and I see not Teslas. Well, I do see Teslas. I see semis, non-Teslas, lugging Teslas. Like, that's not a good look. That's not a good look at all. Like, I'm just on the freeway. I'm like, that don't look good.
Right.
That just the optics of that.
Did you see the Jay Leno video with the semi?
No, not recently. I have not. No. I know there is one.
I like that they pointed that out I watched the whole thing, and at the beginning he was like, "Why is Tesla making a semi truck?" And he was like, "Well, we realized we kept using them to haul our stuff around, our vehicles and our battery packs, and we were like, this is a weird look. to have these big diesel semi trucks move around our electric cars. So that he was like, that was one of the reasons we decided we should make our own
Yeah.
semi. I was like, yeah, I agree. That's kind of a weird look.
It's funny, man. I see them all the time, these semis, and I'm just like, just
All the fumes.
me driving up.
We got an electric car delivery.
Just saving the planet.
I know if you factor in the emission savings, it's still better. But I'm just saying it looks weird.
The optics are the optics, man. You know, it doesn't matter what Elon has done for Tesla. People have their opinions about Tesla. About Elon.
Yes.
You know, optics are optics. So it's just a weird look. So no, I have not spotted any semis out here on the East Coast. And I bring up DC specifically because if there was ever a spot, I think I would see one. It would be in the DC metro area, the greater DC area, or they call it the Washington, Baltimore area, but nothing. I'm like, this is weird. So there's not that. So on those premises, and alike, with my skepticism, the way you are about social media platforms launching and being successful, I am about, you know, delivery timelines and stuff like that. 2024 is when the Cybertruck will be in actual customers' hands, not employees, actual customers. Pricing will be, what I say, 75, 80. It's not going to be six figures starting. Pricing will be 75, 80. That will be the pricing, and the spec will be a dual motor, no single motor. It'll be a dual motor, and that's kind of all but confirmed now that we've seen the photo. So,
yeah.
I think
that helps us narrow it down. Did you see the user interface as well with the little updated graphics? It was a fascinating story. Basically, one of the Tesla contractors that was transporting the Cybertruck prototypes somehow was able to tell, or was parked somewhere, and then a pedestrian walking by the parking lot realized that one of the trucks was unlocked. And so this was not a Tesla employee, but he walked in, he opened the Cybertruck, grabbed the... He actually is kind of weird. He zoomed in on the personal bag. He like got the name of the actual owner. He was like intentionally like exposing him, and he like zoomed in, and then he showed the user interface and the close-ups on the icons and stuff. So in my video, I preface like, I'm not saying this behavior is acceptable. This guy should not have done that, but it would be naive for me to not talk about what was actually leaked. I don't support how it was leaked, but it was leaked, so let's talk about it. And he was smart though. He was tapping the battery percentage trying to get the range, but it doesn't
Oh,
change.
sneaky.
Like, that's a smart software team. That software team knew what they were doing.
Ooh, but even the
What's the range? You don't need to know that.
Even the fact that the guy was doing it though, like, this was premeditated. This guy knew what he was.
I would have gone to the app section. I would have checked the energy graph if I were him. I don't know if that was locked out, but I would have looked at what the efficiency numbers were. Maybe because it was on a trailer, it didn't have any, but I would have been... First of all, I would not have been in the truck in the first place. But if I was the crazy guy like that, I would have been playing with so many settings. Can you imagine walking up to a prototype like that and just checking the doors?
And just
being like...
If somebody catches me, I'd be like...
This one's open.
This isn't Phoenix.
You just pretend you're blind all of a sudden. Huh? Who's that?
This is my piano.
So how did you get to the second level of this semi truck? Oh, I thought I didn't park here, did I?
Wait.
I thought that was weird.
Oh, this isn't Macy's. Where am I? How weird. You know what I'd do? I'd be like, I'm from the future. Get really weird about it.
Right.
We're not safe.
Or just speak a different language. Don't speak English.
What are you doing here? If I really want to scare him, just, sir, what are you doing? Just squeeze.
Take your shirt off, make them uncomfortable, just make them think you're insane and that they just want to get away from you.
Just
or start preach to them. Just try to convert them right there on the spot.
Have you heard of the good news of
Lord and Savior
Elon Musk?
And then they go, all right. Move along.
No, when in doubt,
move along.
tried and true, true Trump taught me this one. Anything happens, just hiss at him.
That would be effective. I would just, they open the door and you're inside the Cybertruck, and then you hit the fart mode.
If I can projectile vomit right there on the spot with my nerves, I would just say, "What are you doing here?"
Maybe, yeah. Knowing your health history, that should be possible.
I just start defecating on myself and do anything to just to not get yelled at.
Pull a Larry David and have a fake heart attack.
Or that one means like, quick, call an ambulance, but not for me. I'll do that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Locked in.
Right.
Wait, you didn't give me your specs, and then we gotta go.
I'm gonna stay consistent. I think it'll be $79,990 for employees, so that the employees can claim the tax credit, and then once customer deliveries will begin, they jack the price way up, and the sky's the limit. Depending on how much demand there is, which in my opinion there will be a ton, they're gonna charge 90, 95, 100. Why not? Model X was going for way more than that, and
it was a different time.
My opinions at Cybertrucks.
It was a different time.
What'd you? I just think there's like more demand for the Cybertruck than any other vehicle, and there's less of them than any other vehicle. So whenever I see that situation come up, high demand, low supply, Tesla accommodates by just raising the prices. So I think this is, if Elon says this is their best product ever, why not make it the most expensive ever? They could justify it.
He has to say it's the best. This is the most powerful iPhone ever. Like, you have to say that. This is by
You know what he said that I was shocked by?
Uh.
He actually retweeted and promoted the new standard range Model Y, which a few years ago, I'm pretty sure he was the reason they took it down. They introduced it while he was tweeting about SpaceX stuff. So I'm like, oh, he's at Starbase. And then when he came back, he was like, the range is too low, and they removed it. He was like, 250 is way too low.
That was before he was in the hole with Twitter money, At this point, he needs that stock.
Now he's retweeting it saying, hey, it's rear-wheel drive's actually not bad in the cold as long as you have winter tires, and it's a very affordable. And I'm like, okay. You changed your tune now, even though the range is pretty much the exact
identical.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 260 versus 244. It's all semantics. It's all the same. So I'm like, wow, an Elon approval. This Model Y might stick around this time.
It's gone next month. It's just like that. We took it down.
Like, never mind. Way too many people are buying this.
I retweeted that when I didn't sleep. I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah.
He was like, hey, rear-wheel drive's pretty good. What's the range? Oh, my God.
No.
Take that down.
Right now.
Drew, Baglino, take that down right now. We're not having that. There will be no low-range Teslas in this household. Thank you very much. All right. I'm done.
No, we're just getting started.
Are you done?
For now.
All right. Oh, flash lightning round. Exterior design change of the Highland Model 3. Is it better or worse?
Oh. Worse.
Correct. Thank you.
I didn't know there was a right or wrong answer.
We have the better looking Model 3. That's all.
That's all you need to know. Yeah. Yeah. No, I like how.
Sounds good.
I like my lights being lights.
Yeah, it's like there's too much like lips on the new one because there's no like extra intakes anymore. So it looks like it's doing the whole like.
It went to go get those injections.
Tongue lip thing. Yeah, it's got one curve and then another curve and then another curve.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
no.
Too much going on there.
No,
but
less is more.
More aerodynamic, better range. All right,
Papa John's.
Fair enough. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Next time. Bye.